Okay, remember that they are changing my voice. This video is about the 50 sayings. I'm going to do 7 sayings to get this thing going because we're moving too slow through this and I could die anytime, so let me just get these sayings out here. So we're going to do 9 through 15 or so. So saying 9, do not reject true love for mere erotic desire. That is despicable. You should know why already, and you should know the value of love already. I haven't come across a female in my life that I can say knows the value of love. Some, like this one female I dated who ironically had cerebral palsy, came a lot closer than the masses of females. And she was actually a lot smarter than other females too. You could tell by the things she said. And she grew up with her family that thinks a certain way that kind of helped her see things wittingly and otherwise, right? And that happens to some degree at times. Okay, so people are living in an erotic desire society, and they don't value true love, and they should know to value it already. And to some degree, they know something like that, but they don't really know. So saying 10, people all reject me for worldly cultures, and all who claim to be Christians, Muslims, and Jews are fake, as they do not put God first. Now, no offense, okay? I'm going to have to think twice about putting this on TikTok, which is very sad. Even though these sayings are very important. Okay, we live in a time where even though I'm Christ and I've proven it and no one has ever presented a viable counter-argument, okay, that they made rules and people think a certain way, so, I can't start my own church. I mean, and again, I'm not a Christian, Muslim, or Jew. My religion is truth, not their religious books, which are made confusing on purpose so that people with ethnic and financial and sexual imperatives and what have you can abuse people, and I don't believe in that. I don't believe in use, abuse, and confuse and this kind of stuff. But they do. Okay? They don't put God first, or they would have rallied to me. That's simple. Nothing that they have going for them they would see anywhere near as important as obeying God to me, so we know that they're not real. So again, people all reject me for worldly cultures, and all who claim to be Christians, Muslims, and Jews are fake, as they do not put God first. When they have money, they refuse to give up the so-called finer things to carry their cross, and by default, they help corporations, governments, and all the peoples of the earth snob all the righteous that ever live. Now, when I say give up their money, I don't mean just give your money to the poor, because the poor are in rebellion. I mean, organize with me, form a moral committee, let's pinpoint in a way that no one has a viable counter-argument what the best and cost-effective way to spend money is, and pool our resources. And one way is to purchase a land property and build a bunch of tiny homes so people can live for close to nothing in those tiny homes and save money, okay, and really focus on doing the work of God and have a main center for any of our brothers and sisters who are persecuted so they can have somewhere to go. Okay, that's one idea for the money, and I think that's a sound idea. I think most people would vote for, and so on and so forth, and I reserve the final say. We'd also have a treasurer to trace all the money, and people would have, some kind of accounting system so everyone knows that there's no way to commit fraud. They'd see where their money goes. It said this person gave this much money, and it went to this and this, this and this, and we'd have people double checking that, and we'd constantly go over it, because not only do we got to make sure no one gets ripped off, okay, we've got to make sure everyone knows for sure that their penny not only wasn't abused, but it was used in a very cost-effective manner, and they were part of the process in determining how that money gets spent. And again, I'd live a very simple life in a simple home, maybe a tiny home, and you could tell by how I live every day that I'm not even thinking in terms of money, and that would also help out in that process. And it's a very tricky thing to do. I don't even like talking about money, but when I look at this, I see that has to be explained. Okay. So again, I mean, if no one wants to donate money, that's fine too. I mean, we got to get this thing going. And I'm not asking for any money. I take pride in not asking for any money, but if ever it came down to it and we organize, we need to kind of move effectively, and that requires that process. If you have any counter argument, please let me know as soon as possible. I command you to let me know as soon as possible. And if you think it's not a good idea to discuss this stuff publicly, let me know. But I believe in transparency and accountability and so on and so forth. And again, I'm not asking anyone for any money. Okay, so point 11. So many people want me to die for being righteous and not worldly. It is in their hearts already. So it's in their hearts already. So when an attractive female rejects me, she's like, she's basically saying, screw off. And I hope you have a bad day and you get an STD. I hope you get AIDS and die. I hope you get so shunned that you kill yourself. And that's what people often do. So when they throw me under the bus, the most righteous person ever lived, it's in their heart already to tell me to die, instead of them doing what an adult woman should do and obey God through me. And if they're married already and their husband is obeying God through me too, to help me find a suitable helper to team up with me, it's not in their heart to do what it would take to protect me, because they're not loyal to God by being loyal to God's Son, and protect me in a way that comes from God through me, not in the way you think is right, or the police department, or the military, or whatever. Okay. Point number 12. Saying 12. When one is shunned for being righteous, and worldly females shun them for organized rapists and their scared servants, they should point it out even if it costs them everything but their soul. So again, you should be right with God so you don't lose your soul. But if you're shunned for doing the right thing, call them out on it. Run it by me first. Don't be some kind of self-righteous person that just goes abuse people. I myself have thousands of videos, and in, at least 100 of them, I say, if you have any viable counter-argument, please let me know. Okay, and I carry on and on about in many more videos about how they have no viable counter-argument, how they refuse to debate me, and so on and so forth. Okay, so you can't call me self-righteous, right? I'm refined, and I constantly go out there and search, and I try to discuss with people, and they avoid talking to me because they know that I'm right. They have no reason in the world to avoid talking to me other than the government telling them not to talk to me, or them being scared because they know that I'm right. Okay. Point number 13. Saying 13 rather. Avoiding morally precise conflicts consumes one's soul. So I don't believe in being a hermit or a Buddhist monk or a Christian monk or Catholic monk or any of that stuff. Or, what's this guy, Thoreau and Emerson and Annie Besant or whoever it was, these people who withdraw from society, right? Transcendentalism. I don't believe in that. I believe that you are here for a reason, and go out and do the right thing to the best of your ability and accept the consequences. Or you're consuming your soul by your lack of action, your lack of righteousness. Righteousness refreshes the soul. Point number 14. Righteousness with little wealth is greater than wealth in fun and feigned righteousness. Yet females refuse to date with this in their hearts because of how they were raised. Truly their souls rot. So again, righteousness with little wealth, right? I'm not rich. I'm not a rich person. If my family had sold out, especially my dad being a brain surgeon, my mom a doctor too, and their siblings doctors and lawyers and stuff like this, we would have been filthy, filthy rich. All kinds of gold diggers would be like, hey, okay. But I tell you the truth. As someone who grew up when I was really young, I lived in a mansion. First, I lived in San Jose, on the southern part, across the street from a liquor store, in a pretty, not too shabby of a neighborhood, not the best, okay. And then we moved to Saratoga, and I lived in a mansion, swimming pool, what have you. Okay, I can tell you firsthand, knowing for sure, righteousness with little wealth is greater than wealth and fun and feigned righteousness, right? Pretending, right? Yet females refuse to date with this in their hearts because of how they were raised. Truly, their souls rot. Now, I'm definitely not going to put this on TikTok because they've been cracking down on me. So, I'll have to allude to this. Okay, I'll have to point out that these videos are here on this channel, this on YouTube instead. Okay, point number 15. When one has any financial imperative when dating, they are a whore. If they are female, they have testified that they need to repent and obey more intensely than others. Now think about this. When we see the depictions of Jesus, and many of you went to church when you were younger, maybe you still go to church, you see Jesus depicted like he's wearing rags, right? Just one, like it's like a bed sheet has on, right? And his 12 disciples, and they don't have very much money. You see it in the Bible where he says, bring nothing with you at one point, because the laborer is worthy of his hire, and things like this. They don't listen to you, dust yourself off and move on, and so on and so forth. So when you have a financial imperative and you're not valuing righteousness more than money, to the point where you're saying, hey, be financially stable in a society where there's more females and higher education than males, okay, it is clear that you are a prostitute and you serve money. You can't serve God and money. If you have money at all in your mind, you have no excuse. If I was to be homeless and you said, hey, I'm not going to date you even though you're Jesus because you're homeless, okay, you can go to fucking hell, okay? That's how far off you are. And no matter what it is, you have to look at the character of somebody. If it's in that person's heart and soul to do the right thing, and getting money is the right thing to do, okay, but certainly, if that was the case, then they're going to do that. That's what they need to do. To put God first and to treat you right as their boyfriend or whatever. And of course, no one should reproduce no matter what. Okay, but you shouldn't look at it as, hey, show me financial stability. You should be able to tell the difference between someone who's going to mooch off you who's a bad person and somebody who has character and heart. And if you don't, you have no business dating anyway. Because, that's another way of being a whore. If you have no sense whatsoever, don't date. Because you may as well be spreading your legs for any guys who comes across. Because there's many smooth-talking, cunning, and conniving people out there. So I'm right for so many reasons. So again, when one has any financial imperative when dating, they're a whore. If they are female, they have testified that they need to repent and obey more intensely than others.